Welcome back to the channel World Coins Master Coin Collecting Channel, where we dive deep into the world of rare and extraordinary United States coins that have shocked collectors, stunned historians, and made everyday people into millionaires overnight. Whether you're a seasoned numismatist, a passionate hobbyist, or just someone curious about what kind of treasure might be sitting in your spare change jar, you're in for a treat. Today, we're taking a closer look at a seemingly ordinary coin with a truly extraordinary story, the 1974 D. Roosevelt 1 dime. Believe it or not, some of these tiny coins have recently been rumored to fetch jaw-dropping prices, with one specific piece reportedly selling for an astounding $13 million at a private collector auction. Yes, you heard that right, $13 million for a coin that most people wouldn't look at twice. So what makes the 1974 D1 dime so special, and why has it become one of the most sought-after treasures in American numismatics? To begin understanding the magic behind this rare coin, we need to rewind history and travel back to the year 1974. This was a transitional time for American coinage. While the Roosevelt dime had been in circulation since 1946, many subtle changes, minting experiments, die errors, and transitional metal compositions began to emerge during the 1970s. The Denver Mint, designated by the D Mint mark on the coin, was especially known for producing large volumes of coins each year, and in that process, minting flaws were not uncommon. But only a select few of these flaws ever ended up becoming legendary. The 1974 D Roosevelt dime is a shining example. On the surface, the 1974 D dime appears completely typical. It's made from a copper-nickel-clad composition, weighs 2.27 grams, and measures just 17.91 millimeters in diameter. But what lies beneath the surface is what has caught the attention of collectors across the globe. A small number of these dimes have been discovered with astonishing minting errors, misaligned die strikes, incorrect planchets, doubled dies, missing mint marks, and more. Each one of these errors has its own unique story, and when combined in rare circumstances, they elevate the value of the coin beyond anything you could imagine. Let's start with one of the most well-documented types of errors on the 1974 D dime, die doubling. Die doubling, often referred to as a double die, occurs when the coin's design is impressed more than once onto the die, but not in perfect alignment. As a result, when coins are struck using this die, the design elements, particularly letters, numbers, and key features, appear with a shadow or doubling effect. On the 1974 D dime, collectors have spotted clear signs of doubling on the word Liberty, the motto, In God We Trust, and even Roosevelt's eye and ear. Coins with strong doubled dies, especially those visible without magnification, can sell for thousands of dollars, but when paired with additional errors, the value increases exponentially. Another common, yet highly valuable, error associated with the 1974 D dime is a misaligned die strike. This happens when the obverse and reverse dies are not properly aligned, leading to off-center or partial strikes. While many off-center coins exist, a perfectly balanced misalignment where Roosevelt's face is partially off-center but all inscriptions remain readable is particularly rare. If this occurs alongside die doubling or other known errors, the rarity and value can skyrocket. But what truly sets apart the $13 million specimen is its combination of multiple rare errors. According to numismatic insiders and reports from private auctions, this particular 1974 D dime featured at least 5 distinct minting anomalies. First, it was struck on a silver planchet, an extremely rare occurrence for 1974, as silver dimes were officially discontinued after 1964. Some leftover silver planchets from earlier years may have accidentally been fed into the minting machinery, making any post-1965 silver dime a highly prized error. Second, the coin in question had a completely missing mint mark. Despite being struck in Denver, the D mint mark was absent, which further confounds experts. Third, it showcased a dramatic off-center strike, placing Roosevelt's profile deep into the rim of the coin. Fourth, clear doubling was evident on both obverse and reverse inscriptions. Finally, there was a unique die crack running from Roosevelt's nose across the cheek and down to the edge, a visual flaw that made this piece one of a kind. It's not just the physical errors that make this coin valuable, it's also the mystery surrounding its existence. Coins like this aren't supposed to leave the mint. Rigorous quality control measures, even in the 1970s, were designed to catch such glaring flaws before circulation. Yet, somehow, this coin slipped through the cracks and ended up in circulation, or possibly held quietly by a mint employee before resurfacing decades later. This adds a layer of intrigue and mystique that collectors love. Provenance, or the history of ownership, also plays a big role. If a coin can be traced through notable collectors or auction houses, its legitimacy and value can be greatly enhanced. Now, let's dive into the numbers. In 1974, the Denver Mint produced over 450 million Roosevelt dimes. That's right, hundreds of millions of coins. So how does a single coin from such a massive mintage end up being worth millions? The answer lies in probability and rarity. Out of those hundreds of millions, only a few hundred, or perhaps just a few dozen, ever exhibited serious minting flaws. And among those, maybe only a handful had multiple concurrent errors. When you combine that rarity with the coin's condition, historical mystery, and market demand, prices can soar. The specific $13 million dime was graded MS-67 by a leading third-party grading service, placing it near the top of the condition scale. Flawless surfaces, original luster, and eye appeal made it a true showstopper. Collectors have long known that error coins can command high premiums, but the market for these items has grown explosively in recent years. With online platforms, social media communities, and digital auctions making information more accessible, everyday people are becoming more aware of what might be lurking in their change. It's no longer uncommon for coins once thought to be worth 10 cents to be reevaluated and appraised at thousands, or millions, of dollars. In fact, many coin dealers report that the Roosevelt dime series has seen a surge in popularity, specifically due to these high-profile sales. So, what should you be looking for if you think you might have a 1974 D dime of value? Start by checking for obvious signs of doubling. You'll want to inspect the Liberty text, the motto, and the date. A good magnifying glass or jeweler's loupe can help with this. Next, look for off-center strikes. If the edge of the coin cuts into Roosevelt's profile or the lettering looks like it's sliding off the edge, that could be a good sign. Also, check the edge of the coin itself. If it appears solid silver without the usual copper-nickel sandwich appearance, you might be holding a silver planchet error. Then, examine the mint mark, or lack thereof. Missing mint marks are rare and highly valuable, especially if everything else checks out. Finally, don't forget die cracks or unusual raised lines on the surface. These can be signs of overused or damaged dies and often accompany other errors. If your coin passes any of these initial checks, it's time to get it authenticated. The most trusted coin grading services in the US include PCGS, Professional Coin Grading Service, and NGC, Numismatic Guarantee Corporation. These companies can examine your coin, determine its authenticity, assign it a grade, and encapsulate it in a tamper-proof holder with a unique certification number. This process greatly increases the coin's value and trustworthiness among buyers. While grading doesn't come free, it typically costs between $30 and $100. It's a small price to pay if you're sitting on a coin potentially worth millions. So why $13 million? That number might seem arbitrary at first, but it's grounded in market behavior, rarity factors, collector psychology, and timing. When two or more high-net-worth collectors compete for a once-in-a-lifetime coin, bidding wars can erupt, and values can escalate quickly. The $13 million figure wasn't just plucked from thin air, it was the result of aggressive bidding, historic provenance, and media attention. In fact, the sale made headlines in several numismatic publications and was even referenced on television shows and podcasts about rare coins and hidden treasures. Stories like this ignite the imaginations of people everywhere. The idea that a small, seemingly mundane object like a dime could be worth more than a mansion or a fleet of luxury cars is both unbelievable and thrilling. And yet it's true. The numismatic world is full of stories like this, stories where history, error, and human curiosity collide in spectacular fashion. The 1974 D Roosevelt dime that sold for $13 million is just the latest chapter in this ongoing saga. So next time you're going through your pocket change or cashing in a jar of coins at the bank, take a second look. That 1974 D dime you almost overlooked could be a life-changing discovery. Millions of these coins are out there, and while the majority are worth just 10 cents, a few could be priceless. All it takes is the right combination of features, a sharp eye, and a bit of luck. Today, we delve into one such extraordinary example, the 1985 P. Roosevelt dime, a humble 10-cent piece that, due to a series of rare errors and anomalies, has been reported by some numismatic sources and collectors to have an astonishing speculative value of up to $11 million. At first glance, a 1985 Roosevelt dime might seem completely ordinary. It features the familiar profile of President Franklin D. Roosevelt, designed by John R. Sinek, with the obverse bearing the year 1985 and the P mint mark, indicating it was struck at the Philadelphia Mint. Tens of millions of these coins were produced that year, and they continued to circulate in pockets, cash registers, and change jars across the country. But not all 1985 P dimes are created equal. Among this sea of silver-colored coins, a handful have gained legendary status due to minting errors, die anomalies, planchet defects, and more, factors that make certain examples staggeringly rare and, to the right collector, potentially worth a fortune. So what exactly could make a 10-cent coin command an 8-figure price tag in the collector's market? It all begins with the concept of rarity. In the world of numismatics, rarity is king. When a coin deviates in any way from its intended design, especially when such a deviation results from a mistake during the minting process, it creates a unique specimen. These mint errors can range from relatively common occurrences such as off-center strikes or double dies, to incredibly rare and valuable mistakes like coins struck on the wrong planchet, dramatic misalignments, missing elements, or coins that display multiple errors at once. In the case of the 1985 P. Roosevelt dime, several types of errors and anomalies have been documented. Though only a small number of coins have all the elements that might push their theoretical value into the multi-million-dollar range. Let's explore these errors in detail and examine how their presence contributes to the coin's supposed $11 million valuation. One of the most compelling and valuable varieties of the 1985 P dime involves a missing mint mark. The Philadelphia Mint first began using the P mint mark on dimes in 1980. Prior to that, coins struck at the Philadelphia Mint carried no mint mark. Therefore, any 1985 Roosevelt dime lacking the P mint mark should be impossible, unless an error occurred. A mint mark omission in this year is not only rare but could suggest that a proof die or an outdated die was mistakenly used, making such a coin a top-tier rarity. A genuine example of a 1985 dime with a missing P could potentially fetch astronomical figures at auction, especially if authenticated by leading grading companies. Another variation lies in the so-called broad strike errors. A broad strike happens when a coin is struck outside the confines of the collar die, which normally shapes the coin's edge. This results in a coin that appears larger than normal, with a flattened, more diffuse rim and sometimes an off-center appearance. Broad strike errors in Roosevelt dimes are not unheard of, but finding one from 1985 P in mint state condition, with no signs of post-mint damage and full details, could make it especially desirable. Pair that with another error, such as a die crack or a cud, a raised lump of metal caused by a die break, and you have a coin that's inching ever closer to rarity status. Double die errors are another type of mistake that can dramatically increase a coin's value. This error occurs when a coin is struck by a die that itself has a misalignment in its design, often due to being impressed twice in slightly different positions. The result is a coin with duplicated images or lettering. In the 1985 P. Roosevelt dime series, no officially cataloged double die obverse exists at major grading agencies like PCGS or NGC. However, rumors among collectors and some anecdotal listings suggest a very small number may exist. If authenticated, a 1985 P double die dime could be considered an ultra-rarity and fetch tens or even hundreds of thousands of dollars, or more, at auction. Another fascinating anomaly is the wrong planchet error. Planchets are the blank metal discs that are struck into coins. Occasionally, due to a mistake at the mint, a coin will be struck on a planchet intended for another denomination, or even a foreign coin. Imagine discovering a 1985 P. Roosevelt dime struck on a copper penny planchet, or perhaps even on a planchet intended for a foreign coin minted at the Philadelphia facility. Such an error could be so unique and rare that it would immediately attract high-end collectors and auction houses, potentially pushing its value into the millions, depending on condition, provenance, and verification. Speaking of condition, let's talk about the role of grading in the valuation of rare coins. Coin grading is a standardized way of assessing a coin's condition, from poor P1 to perfect mint state, MS70. A coin's grade significantly influences its market value. Even common coins can become surprisingly valuable if preserved in uncirculated, near-flawless condition. A 1985 P dime with multiple errors, say, a missing mint mark, broad strike, and double die, all encapsulated in a top-tier MS-67 or higher slab by PCGS or NGC, would not only be rare but potentially one of a kind. That uniqueness, paired with flawless preservation, is the kind of numismatic miracle that can result in record-breaking sales figures, such as the highly speculative $11 million valuation attached to certain examples. Now consider the added intrigue of provenance. Provenance refers to the documented history of a coin's ownership, discovery, and any notable events associated with it. A 1985 P. Roosevelt dime with exceptional errors and a documented history. Perhaps it was discovered in a famous coin hoard, or it previously belonged to a renowned collector, would only add to its allure. Just as with art, a well-documented backstory can significantly enhance a coin's market desirability and value. Beyond errors and condition, market demand plays a massive role in determining what a collector will pay. In the age of online auctions, social media, and instant information sharing, rare coin discoveries can go viral. A previously unknown 1985 P-era dime that gains traction in numismatic circles or is spotlighted on popular coin collecting channels and forums could quickly see its price driven up by eager collectors and investors. The $11 million price tag, while extreme, represents the perfect storm of rarity, error complexity, pristine condition, and collector demand. There's also a psychological and speculative aspect to coin collecting. People are fascinated by the idea that a tiny object, a simple dime, could be worth more than a mansion. This intrigue fuels both novice treasure hunters and seasoned collectors alike to search for that one life-changing find. In a market where emotion, rarity, and passion intersect, prices can sometimes reach unbelievable heights. Another dimension to this coin story is the possibility of unreported or yet-to-be-discovered varieties. Not all rare coins are cataloged immediately. It sometimes takes decades for certain varieties or errors to be officially recognized. As of now, the 1985 P. Roosevelt dime may still be hiding secrets. There could be coins out there with new and undocumented die varieties, transitional errors, or experimental strikes from that year. Each new discovery adds to the mystique and potential value of this coin, as collectors remain ever vigilant, examining every dime they come across. It's also worth noting that the U.S. Mint, while known for its strict quality control, is not immune to human error and mechanical mishaps. With tens of millions of coins being produced every year, even a tiny margin of error can result in hundreds of anomalous coins escaping into circulation. Some of these coins are immediately noticed, while others may circulate for years, sometimes decades, before someone realizes what they have. The idea that such a treasure could be lying unnoticed in a cash register or jar of change adds to the excitement and drives the continued search. With all these elements, error types, rarity, grade, provenance, demand, speculation, it becomes easier to see how a single 1985 P. Roosevelt dime could, under just the right conditions, be seen as worth $11 million to the right buyer. Whether that value is realized in a sale or remains a theoretical high point is a matter of market dynamics, collector interest, and media exposure. In closing, the story of the 1985 P. Roosevelt dime serves as a shining example of why coin collecting continues to captivate the minds of millions. It's not just about metal or minting, it's about mystery, discovery, and the thrill of possibility. A coin you hold in your hand could very well be one of the rarest pieces in American numismatic history. So the next time you receive change, take a closer look. That ordinary-looking dime might just be an extraordinary treasure.